All right, so let's dive into this video about lowering cholesterol quickly. I mean, it really gets straight to the point,
Yeah.
calling high cholesterol a silent killer, a ticking time bomb.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're following along with someone's, personal journey to better health.
Yeah. That's a really interesting observation. The strong language definitely grabs your attention, and it does highlight the seriousness of the issue. It's not just hyperbole.
Right.
High cholesterol is a major risk factor for heart attacks and strokes. And considering that the video mentions over 40% of adults globally have high cholesterol, it's clear this isn't a niche concern.
Definitely not. It
Yeah.
makes you want to pay attention and learn more, right?
For sure.
Now, the video kind of breezes through what cholesterol actually is.
Uh-huh.
I'm hoping you could break that down a bit more for us.
Of course. Cholesterol is a fatty substance, but it's actually essential for our bodies. It helps build cells and produce hormones. So it's not inherently bad. The problem is when we have too much of a certain type of cholesterol.
Wait, there's more than one kind.
There is. You've got HDL, which is the good cholesterol, and LDL, which is the bad cholesterol.
Okay.
HDL helps clear out LDL from your bloodstream. But when there's too much LDL, it can start to build up in your arteries and form what's called plaque.
Okay, so plaque is the troublemaker here.
Exactly. Plaque buildup restricts blood flow, and that's what increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes.
Got it. Now, the video mentions that high cholesterol can be caused by genetics and lifestyle choices. It seems like some people might be fighting an uphill battle, right?
Yeah, that's true. Genetics do play a role. Some people are just predisposed to having higher cholesterol.
Right.
But even if you have a genetic predisposition, you're not completely powerless.
Hmm.
Lifestyle choices have a huge impact, maybe even more so in those cases.
So what are some of the biggest culprits in our daily lives when it comes to high cholesterol?
Diet is a major one. The video specifically calls out saturated and trans fats as being problematic. Saturated fats are found in things like fatty meats, full-fat dairy, and some baked goods. And trans fats, which are even worse for you, are often lurking in processed foods and fried foods.
So basically, those are the things we want to avoid, or at least cut back on significantly.
Right, and the video is really big on making changes quickly when it comes to diet. While I admire that enthusiasm, I do wonder if that emphasis on speed could potentially backfire. It might tempt people to go for extreme diets that are hard to maintain, leading to what's often called yo-yo dieting.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like trying to sprint a marathon. You might start strong, but it's not sustainable.
Exactly, and that's where the focus needs to shift, to establishing healthy habits that you can stick with for life, not just for a few weeks.
So beyond just saying no to those unhealthy fats, what should we be focusing on adding to our diets?
The video mentions increasing fiber, and that's a great place to start. Fiber, particularly soluble fiber, is like a cholesterol magnet. It binds to cholesterol in the digestive tract and helps remove it from the body.
Okay, so fiber is our friend. But what are some good sources of this soluble fiber?
Think oats, beans, lentils, fruits, and vegetables.
Okay.
These are all great examples of foods rich in soluble fiber. And, lentils are kind of a double whammy because they're also a good source of plant-based protein, which the video also encourages.
Plant-based proteins, so we're talking about things like tofu, tempeh, edamame, that sort of thing.
Exactly. These options are naturally lower in saturated fat and cholesterol compared to animal-based proteins, making them a great choice for a heart-healthy diet.
Got it. So swap out the burger for lentil stew and maybe add some avocado toast on the side. Sounds pretty tasty, actually.
Yeah.
Now, the video also talks about the importance of exercise, suggesting 30 minutes of brisk walking daily. What are your thoughts on that recommendation?
I think that's a fantastic starting point for most people. Brisk walking is accessible, you don't need any special equipment, and it's a great way to get your heart rate up.
But do you really need to do those 30 minutes all at once?
Not necessarily. You can absolutely break it up into shorter bursts throughout the day.
Oh.
Even 10 minutes here and there can add up and provide significant benefits.
So it's more about being active throughout the day rather than trying to cram it all in one session.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be limited to walking either. Any activity that gets your heart rate up is beneficial. Swimming, dancing, gardening, it all counts. The key is to find something you enjoy and make it a regular part of your routine.
Speaking of routine, the video also touches on lifestyle factors like quitting smoking, reducing stress, and getting enough sleep. Those seem a bit less directly connected to cholesterol. Can you explain why they matter?
They might not seem directly related, but they all play a role in cardiovascular health, which is intimately tied to cholesterol management. Smoking, for example, damages blood vessels, making them more susceptible Chronic stress can actually raise your LDL cholesterol levels.
Really?
It's like a cascade effect. Stress triggers the release of hormones that can lead to inflammation and increased LDL production.
Wow. So finding healthy ways to manage stress, whether through exercise, meditation, or spending time with loved ones, is actually protecting our hearts.
Absolutely. It's all connected. And then there's sleep. Lack of sleep disrupts hormone balance and can contribute to weight gain, both of which can negatively impact cholesterol levels.
So getting enough sleep isn't just about feeling rested, it's about taking care of our hearts too. It's really amazing how all these different aspects of our lives are intertwined.
Yeah, it really highlights the importance of a holistic approach to health. It's not just about one thing, it's about creating a lifestyle that supports your overall well-being.
Now, the video has this very positive can-do attitude, which is inspiring. But do you think that focusing solely on the quick fix aspect might downplay the importance of those long-term lifestyle changes we were just talking about?
That's a really insightful point. While I appreciate the video's enthusiasm, it is important to remember that for some individuals, making these changes can be incredibly challenging.
Right.
There might be underlying health conditions, financial constraints, or other obstacles that make it more difficult.
Right.
So while optimism is great, it's also important to acknowledge the complexities and be compassionate.
I think that's a really crucial point. It's about finding what works for you and making sustainable changes that fit into your life, right?
Absolutely. Small changes add up over time and are much more likely to stick.
Right.
It's about creating healthy habits that you can sustain, not just for a few weeks, but for years to come.
Okay, so we've got the big picture now, what cholesterol is, why it's important, and the various things that can influence it. We've also touched on some specific strategies for lowering cholesterol, like diet, exercise, and those important lifestyle changes.
Right.
Before we move on, there's one more thing I wanted to bring up. The video claims that you can see significant improvements in your cholesterol levels in just a few weeks.
That's a bold claim, and it's definitely something we should explore further. While it's true that some people might see quick results, it's not a guarantee for everyone.
Right, and that brings up a really important question. What does the research actually say about how quickly lifestyle changes really impact cholesterol levels? That's something for you, our listener, to keep in mind as you continue your journey to better health.
I think this is a perfect time to delve into the science.
Right.
What we see in one person's experience may not apply to everyone. It's essential to look at the broader scientific evidence to understand what's realistically achievable.
And that's where we'll pick things up in part 2 of our cholesterol deep dive. We'll be examining the research and taking a closer look at the time frame for cholesterol reduction through lifestyle changes.
We'll be back soon to continue our exploration.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Me too. Welcome back to our deep dive into cholesterol reduction. We ended the last part by questioning how quickly lifestyle changes can actually impact cholesterol levels. So let's explore what the research says.
It's definitely time to put that significant improvements in a few weeks claim to the test. You know, I know personal stories can be powerful,
Yeah.
but we need to see if the science backs that up.
It's about separating those individual experiences, which are valuable, from the bigger picture of scientific findings. And the research does show that lifestyle changes can make a real difference in cholesterol levels, but the speed of those changes can be quite varied.
So are we talking weeks, months, years? What kind of time frame does the research suggest?
Well, there are studies that show notable drops in LDL cholesterol within just a few weeks of changing diet and getting more active.
Okay.
But then there are others that point to a longer time frame, maybe several months, before those big shifts happen.
It seems like that lines up with what we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
It's not a one-size-fits-all situation.
Right. Individual factors like your genetics, age, overall health, and even specific changes you're making can all play a role in how quickly you see those results.
So while those quick results are possible, maybe we shouldn't get too hung up on the few weeks idea, and instead focus on making changes we can stick with.
Absolutely. Focusing on sustainable habits, being consistent, and having patience with the process are key. That's more likely to lead to lasting success than chasing those super fast results.
Do any particular studies stand out in terms of showing how quickly these lifestyle changes can work their magic on cholesterol?
One study that comes to mind was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association. It found that folks who followed a heart-healthy diet and exercised regularly for about 12 weeks, so around 3 months, saw significant reductions in both their LDL and total cholesterol levels.
3 months seems like a more reasonable time frame to aim for.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
I think so.
It feels more attainable than trying to squeeze it all into just a few weeks.
I agree, it's a good benchmark. But again, it's just one study, and results can vary so much from person to person.
It's a good reminder that science is a process. There's not always one definitive answer. It's more about gathering evidence over time, right?
Exactly. And as we learn more, our understanding of the connection between lifestyle and cholesterol will continue to evolve.
Speaking of evolving understanding, I think it's time to bring in a topic that wasn't explicitly mentioned in the video, but it's definitely relevant to our conversation medication.
That's a crucial point. While lifestyle changes are the foundation, medication can play a vital role for some people. If those lifestyle modifications alone aren't enough to bring cholesterol levels down to a healthy range, a doctor might recommend medication.
So it's not necessarily an either situation. It can be a combination of both.
Exactly. It's about finding the right approach for each individual, and that's a conversation to have with your healthcare provider.
Now, thinking back to the video again, we discussed its positive and encouraging tone. But is there a risk that this kind of framing might lead people to believe they can simply fix their cholesterol without needing medical help?
That's a valid concern. It's so important to emphasize that while lifestyle changes are powerful, they might not be sufficient for everyone. Some people might require medication to effectively manage their cholesterol levels. It's not about minimizing medical intervention, but about understanding when it might be necessary.
And realizing that working with your doctor is crucial. It's a team effort to find the best path for your individual needs.
Absolutely. It's a partnership between patient and healthcare provider.
We've explored the science behind those quick result claims, examined relevant research, and even touched on the role of medication. What else should we consider before wrapping up this deep dive into cholesterol?
One thing that often gets overlooked is the importance of regular monitoring. Even if you've successfully lowered your cholesterol, whether through lifestyle changes or medication, it's crucial to have your levels checked regularly.
It's not a set it and forget it situation, right?
Right.
Ongoing monitoring helps make sure you're staying on track.
It's about maintaining those healthy habits over time, being proactive about your heart health, and making adjustments as needed.
Well, this has been an eye-opening journey. We started with a simple video promising quick results and have uncovered a more nuanced understanding of cholesterol and all the factors that play a role.
Yeah.
And hopefully our listener now feels more empowered and knowledgeable about taking control of their own heart health.
Definitely. But before we conclude part 2, I have one final question for our listener. We've talked a lot about individual responsibility, but what about the bigger picture? What role do public health initiatives play in preventing high cholesterol? Could there be broader societal changes that make it easier for everyone to maintain healthy cholesterol levels? Something to ponder as you continue exploring this important health topic.
That's a great point and a perfect segue into the final part of our cholesterol deep dive, where we'll be discussing prevention. Join us next time as we shift our focus from managing existing high cholesterol to preventing it in the first place.
Welcome back for the final part of our cholesterol deep dive. We've gone from deciphering quick fixes to unraveling the science and complexities of managing high cholesterol. Now let's shift gears and talk about prevention. Okay.
How can we keep our cholesterol in a healthy range right from the start?
Prevention is always a fascinating area to explore.
Right.
And with heart health, it truly is the best approach. Fortunately, many of the strategies we discussed for lowering cholesterol also play a crucial role in prevention.
Right.
It's about building those healthy habits early on and making them a lifelong commitment.
So instead of reacting to a problem, we're being proactive and building a strong foundation for a healthy heart.
That's a great way to put it. And as we talked about before, diet plays a huge role. But it goes beyond simply avoiding those saturated and trans fats. We need to embrace a heart-healthy eating pattern overall.
Can you paint a picture of what that looks like on a daily basis? What kinds of food should be filling our plates?
Imagine a plate full of vibrant fruits and vegetables, hearty whole grains, lean proteins, and those healthy fats we talked about earlier. All those foods that help lower cholesterol are also the key ingredients for preventing it in the first place.
So we're talking about those colorful produce sections at the grocery store, fiber-rich grains like quinoa and oats, and good fats like avocado and olive oil.
Exactly. And let's not forget about portion control. Even the healthiest foods can contribute to weight gain if we're not mindful of how much we're eating.
Right, because we know excess weight can lead to higher cholesterol levels. It all ties together.
It does. And that brings us to another key preventive measure: exercise.
We already discussed exercise for lowering cholesterol. How does it fit into the prevention puzzle?
Think of it this way. Regular physical activity keeps our hearts strong and healthy, which sets the stage for healthy cholesterol levels.
Okay.
Exercise helps with weight management, improves circulation, and really benefits our cardiovascular system overall.
So aiming for those 30 minutes of brisk walking most days of the week is still a good target, right?
That's a fantastic goal. And remember, you can break it up into smaller chunks throughout the day if that's easier to fit into your schedule. The important thing is to find activities you enjoy and make them a regular part of your routine.
It's about integrating movement into our lives, not making it another chore in the to-do list.
Exactly. But beyond diet and exercise, there are other lifestyle choices that can impact our heart health and cholesterol.
The video mentioned quitting smoking and managing stress.
Right.
How do those factor into the prevention picture?
Smoking is incredibly damaging to our blood vessels, making them more prone to that plaque buildup we talked about, which can lead to high cholesterol and heart disease.
Right.
Quitting smoking, or better yet, never starting, is one of the most significant things you can do to protect your heart.
And stress. I mean, it's a part of life, but how does it affect our cholesterol?
Chronic stress can actually increase those harmful LDL cholesterol levels. When we're constantly stressed, our bodies release hormones that can lead to inflammation and increased LDL production. It's really a domino effect.
So finding healthy ways to manage stress, whether it's exercise, meditation, or spending time with loved ones, is actually good for our hearts.
Absolutely. It's all interconnected. And even getting enough sleep can make a difference. Lack of sleep throws our hormones out of whack and can contribute to weight gain, both of which can negatively impact cholesterol levels.
It's amazing how all these different aspects of our lives are intertwined. It really emphasizes the importance of taking a holistic approach to our health.
You nailed it. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports your overall well-being, both physically and mentally.
We talked about the importance of regular monitoring for people who already have high cholesterol.
Right.
Does that apply to prevention as well?
Absolutely. Even if you're young and healthy, it's still a good idea to get your cholesterol checked regularly. This establishes a baseline so you can track any changes over time and catch any potential issues early on.
So how often should we be getting our cholesterol checked? Is there a general guideline?
For most adults, it's recommended to have your cholesterol checked every 4 to 6 years, starting at age 20. But your doctor might suggest more frequent testing if you have certain risk factors, like a family history of heart disease or high cholesterol.
It's all about staying informed and proactive about our heart health.
Yeah,
Knowledge really is power when it comes to prevention.
I couldn't agree more. Understanding your cholesterol levels is a crucial part of taking ownership of your health.
Wow, we've covered so much in this deep dive. We started with a video promising quick fixes, then explored the science and complexities of managing high cholesterol, and now we've even delved into prevention.
It's been quite a journey.
And I hope our listener feels empowered and equipped to take control of their heart health.
Definitely.
That's what we try to do here.
Yeah.
Well, that will conclude our cholesterol deep dive. Thank you for joining us on this journey of learning and discovery.